Man.
It's been too long.
It's
been too long. It sure has. When was the last time that we had a fine Pilsner beer on this show?
On the show?
Because we had the champagne beers when we were hungover.
Yeah, like several weeks ago. But, I mean, I did have a couple of these yesterday, but no day is a bad day for a Miller Lite.
Okay. You know, it's like, it's our beer. I completely forgot about our bit. What the fuck was our bit going to be?
Oh, I thought.
Oh, yeah. No, I got it. It was your idea. You do it, Julie.
On the road you can. Just can't wait to get on the road you can. The life I love is collecting piggies with my friends.
But not fat ones.
And I can't wait to get on the road. You can. The you can thing was totally Allison Nelson.
Yeah, I added you can. It's true. We thought long enough. You're allowed to laugh. It's totally fine.
Yeah, man. We have a guest, and she's a little bit nervous, as she should be, because this is like a big deal.
It's a really big deal. She's got her own headphones and everything.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patreon.
They cackle and suspiciously. I don't know why that's not. No, that's exactly what it's for. Mm-hmm. So that was our bit.
Such as it was.
You know, it happened. It was. And this is Amelia Buzzell.
Hi.
Amelia has the helpful distinction of being a person who has not yet seen the second season of Outlander.
Whoa.
In fact, hasn't finished the first season. Amelia, without going into detail for anybody who's listening for the first time, how far are you in season 1?
I'm like midway through season 1.2.
Okay.
I've seen some dicks,
Great.
but I have a feeling there will be more of them.
There will be more dicks.
Is that
Literal and metaphorical.
Yes. Is that expansive?
Yes.
That's good enough.
That's great.
Great.
So your
As many
perspective.
dicks are.
Yeah, literal and metaphorical. So you've got the interesting sort of point of view of knowing some of what's going to happen next, but not all, which I think is going to come in handy because even Janine knows what happens in season 2. You know?
Yeah.
Well, because I've been through it.
Yeah. Just like
He didn't watch it, but he
through our
listened to
eyes.
us jabber on
through
about it at least.
our eyes,
Ew.
the light, the heat.
Oh, God.
Yeah, there we go. See? She's already on the fake percussion. This is going to go great. We're really excited to talk today about episode 1.5. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Season
Rent
1, episode 5.
Yeah, Rent. And I'm not sure how we're going to pay. How we're going to pay.
It starts.
Oh, God.
Last year's rent, this year's rent. Rent.
Rent.
Because everything's rent.
Everything is rent.
525,600 minutes. That's all I know, though. Literally.
525,000 bags of some grain.
Yay! Oh! Nailed it!
That was a yes and. For those of you
That
who
was
are
a
not in the
really
business.
solid yes and. That's what we like to call it in the biz. That's a yes and in the biz.
Thank you.
So let's get into it, shall we? So when last we saw Claire and her her 7 dwarfs, I don't know. They're hairy as dwarves.
Her 7 hairy Scotsmen.
Yes. Her 7 Scots for 7 for... No, I got nothing, guys. I got nothing. It's been a really long day. It's been a day. Dougal comes in and he's like, hey, I'm taking you with me. And Julie, you asked a question in the last episode, which was, I guess it was when we were watching it. Time knows, I obey no master, including time. All days are one day to me. But yesterday when Julie and I were watching these episodes, she said, why the hell did they bring her again? And I think in the Gathering episode, Dougal says it's because it would be handy to have a healer on the road. In the book, it's because he specifically takes her to meet the garrison commander.
Oh, wow. That's different.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So that's not, there's no Jeremy Foster. We'll get to him in all of his apple-cheeked goodness. He's taking her and doesn't know it's Jonathan Randall. Is taking her to meet somebody from the garrison so that they can figure out if that's the best way to get her back to her people. I just reread and skimmed, honestly, that section of the book before we started. Because at the end of this episode, they have those lovely little bonus features where you get to see all the stuff. And Ronald Moore was talking about how the garrison commander is a very small section of the book, which is true. And so is the Rent to a certain extent. It collapses a lot of it into one, but at the same time, it's like a montage. It's a book montage.
It is a book montage. It's
and a
very
show
montagey.
montage. It's like I just kept waiting for Hall & Oates to play.
Well, the thing that happens in this episode right away from the very beginning that I was most excited about, Ned Gowan.
Ned.
I love him so much.
He's great.
The actor's name is Bill Patterson, and he's one of those British that guy guys. And he's just really, really great. And I told Allison that he was kind of like my Scottish Monsieur Raymond, which Amelia will not know who the hell that is. But in season 2, there's a really great character actor that plays this part that is just great. And so Ned Gowan, this episode is already starting out with a bang.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's got his cool coat.
Yeah. He's quoting
ponytail.
His tiny little gray ponytail, his little school marm glasses, and he's quoting John Donne.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who's great?
Ned Gowan.
Yes. I meant John Donne.
Both.
And Claire's got that excellent coat on. It's a real
that
win.
collar.
I know, right?
Living for it.
Yeah. It's the best. So Claire is, as one does, when one is in the throes of homesickness and like sexual frustration, one stares out at a Scottish lake and recites John Donne to oneself. And if one is lucky, a little cool lawyer comes up and joins one. And while one does that, one's companions get into a giant dick fight
like
behind
a grab
them.
ass. So it's like these two people quoting this beautiful sonnet and then grab ass in the background.
Yeah. Because Willie hasn't fucked his sister yet.
Or something.
Something like that. But it's the best juxtaposition, just like watching this like tranquil moment happen, these two civilized folks, while the hooligans behind them get up to some chicanery.
Yep.
Some hijinks.
It gives me the impression that like
Jinkies.
the
Yoinks.
rent can be
Yoinks.
paid on a V card. You can be like, it's his first rent. He hasn't had late. Like, is that what you do? Do you go on the rent
Totally.
and that's like the equivalent of your dad like buying you a hooker? Like,
Mr. Mackenzie, I have no fat pig to give you, but I'm willing to offer up my maidenhead to this young fella here.
Would that work?
Probably. Come on.
Leases are pretty loose now.
Yeah.
They're very flexible terms. As long as you had at least one pig and a couple of shillings, you were fine.
At least one pig, although Ned does not want any fatties.
No
Ned
chubs
said,
here.
Ned said no fatties. And then, of course, we get some fatties.
Yeah, straight from the book. That's straight from the book.
But Ned is not well. Ned is coughing and kind of sickly sounding. And Claire, with the healer's heart that she possesses, says, I think I've got something for you. Do you have a pipe? And he's like, you're going to make me smoke to make me breathe better? You're weird. But then she gives him, what is it, Jimson weed?
Yeah.
Thorn apple, something
Thorn
like
apple, which is Jimson weed.
And it like releases, he's having an asthma attack essentially. And of course, back then they didn't know what asthma was. He said it was something in the wind.
lungs of fire.
Yeah. It's like, that's asthma, dude.
Yeah.
And so she gives him this stuff and he's like, wow. And then you kind of see Ned, because he's really smart, look at Claire and be a little bit like, how would you, okay. So this whole episode is kind of about Ned and how he starts to piece together that maybe Claire is something else than she appears.
We viewed this scene very differently. What I wrote down is, oh man, she got Ned so high. Because he takes the pipe. She's like, do you have a pipe? And I was like, oh yeah, can you pass it this way when you're done? And then I just expected them to go into a castle so they could take the butt.
Take it to She got it in there. She got it in there.
I always do, man. But seriously, like the relief was so palpable. I was like, dude, he is stoned. Because he just all of a sudden was like, and then he went in search of some oldsy timesy Doritos or something. You know, like he just was ready. He was ready for a snack.
This episode also has a lot of voiceover in it. And she's always saying the same thing, which is, I have to get back to Craig Nadoon. And I'm like, no shit, Claire. You don't have to keep telling us that. But that happens like 10 times in this episode.
Well, I mean, you got to do something over the many, many, many travel montages.
Yeah. Although the Scotland porn can't speak for itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
I think
yeah, go ahead.
I think my favorite voiceover is, and as I looked at the moors, I couldn't help but wonder.
Yeah. What? Okay.
You know, just like,
Am I on the moors
Am I
or are the moors on me?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, totally. God.
Yeah. Wait, okay, is Claire a Miranda, a Samantha,
God, that's an
a
excellent
Carrie, or a
question.
Charlotte?
I mean, is she a Carrie? She's got the curly hair.
No,
she's got
she's
the
not a
proclivity
Carrie.
for drink.
She's not a Carrie. I think out of all four of them, the closest is probably Miranda.
Yeah, I agree with that. Too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but none of the like. Oh, I guess she is kind of uptight.
Sometimes she
I
is.
can't remember. It's been a long time since I sipped a Cosmo with the ladies of Manhattan. Does Miranda have a proclivity to drink while time traveling?
She does TiVo. What is TiVo but time travel?
That's
really
true. You know, that's good. That's really good. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So in one of these travel montages, one of my favorite things, and it was just like a little book nerd moment, is they're like riding their horses down the highway, down the damn Ryan, and they're all singing a song, and Claire's just listening along, and there's this shot of Sam Hewan, and he looks happy, and he's just sort of singing. Only to me, I was like, oh, he's obviously mouthing the words.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's because Sam Hewan can't sing, or if Sam Hewan knows Jamie can't sing.
That's right, because it's one of the few things on the list that
Yes.
Jamie is not good at.
What else is he not good at, Julie?
Well, obviously he's not good at singing.
Yeah.
He's not good at not looking good anytime.
Yeah, he's really bad at looking more gross when covered in blood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's also he's a weak seaman. I don't even know why I wait for it. I should just get that one out of the way
It's funnier
first.
when it's number 3. Come on. You're
right.
in the
You're
biz.
right. I had to get to 3, and I did. What else is he? He's not really. We haven't found anything else yet that he's truly bad at. At least at this point in the show.
There are more things he's bad at in the books than in the show. If only because the list of things he's good at is so much longer, and they have to show something.
They have to. They have to make him real.
Yeah.
I mean, more real, less of a rock-hewn fantasy. I'm gonna stop now.
Anyway, to me, it looked like he was obviously mouthing the words, which made me giggle. But it was just a little thing.
And Claire is with all these guys that are speaking a lot of Gaelic when they are around her, and she's feeling very excluded. And when Allison and I were watching it, I turned to Allison and I was like, it's like a nail salon in there. Because they're talking about her. She can tell they're talking about her. She has no idea what they're saying. So that's a big theme in the episode, is that she's surrounded by people who are speaking another language and really trying to keep her at arm's length.
all that sexy Klingon.
Sexy Klingon. It is actually sexy Klingon.
And when they're not talking about her in Gaelic, they are telling incredibly dirty jokes that all involve the word pups. Which is Scottish for boobies, you can.
I used to think that Doug's was my least favorite term for boobies.
Doug's is
But I think-
awful.
I've never heard Doug's. Like do 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 do.
Not that Doug.
That's every net.
Not that Doug.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I hate pups more.
Pups is bad.
Pups is pretty
Where
bad.
does Doug come from?
I feel like it's one of those like, it was during the like Thomas Hardy unit in some English class, like a while ago when the language was rougher, and so Doug's could have been an erotic word in the rest of a sentence.
I'm going to have to. In fact, why don't you look up the use of
Yeah, come
Doug's
on.
for boobs? And,
Etymology Online, one of my favorite websites.
D-U-G or D-O?
no, not D-O-U-G.
Well, let's look at it up.
Nope. I am too old for Doug. I don't know enough about Doug.
Well, that is your loss.
Yeah,
your loss.
I was
It's
about
your
5
loss
years
and
too old.
Patty Mayonnaise's gain.
So it's apparently a Germanic word. And it's a noun. The mama or it literally says mama. Mamma, M-A-M-M-A. Or the nipple of a female mammal.
Doug.
That's way more specific than I thought. I thought it was the whole
Nipple.
Not just boob, nipple.
Yeah.
Wow.
Doug.
Ooh.
Is it because you have to dig in there to like when you're a mammal, you got to dig past your siblings to get to a Doug? I don't know.
Oh, here's a great one. Second definition of Doug. A human breast, especially when old and withered.
Oh, so it's after
It's been dug
he
out.
sucks the pups dry.
Yeah, they're dug out.
They're dug out. Oh God.
That's so sad.
So if someone ever like motorboats me when I'm old, I would be like, get in the dugout.
Get in the dugout.
You just get right in the dugout.
Have a seat in the dugout. So, really, this episode is just a lot of them on the road, and we do get to see a lot of Jamie, and he's wearing an amazing vest. And I had a question.
Yeah.
Is Jamie Fraser or Outlander, or specifically Terry Dressbach, the reason why vests are making such a comeback? Or was it, what's his name in that movie with the cool soundtrack? Come on.
You're gonna have to be more.
He's
specific.
from The Office. He's a big movie star now. Chris Pratt.
You're
And
talking about Guardians of the Galaxy?
yes, but he wears a
He's
vest.
And that was Parks
Parks
and
and
Rec.
Rec.
Parks and Rec. Oh shit! See, I don't even know.
I got there.
You were there.
Yeah.
So he wore a lot of
there's
vests.
nobody from The Office who went on to be a big movie star except for Steve Carell.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a big movie star.
I-
He's married to a
right.
big movie star.
So
he's married to Emily Blunt, isn't he?
I
Am
think
I-
so.
is that
John
crazy?
Krasinski.
Yeah.
Mark Krasinski is, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But so I've noticed in magazines, because my husband is a forward fashion thinker, that vests are like everywhere now. And is it part of the kind of like hipsterification of trying to kind of look oldsy timesy? Or is it because Sam Heughan looks so fucking good in a vest that all of a sudden
I think that maybe it's brawny paper towels. We've now reached an age where we're making more of an effort to keep our homes clean.
Mm-hmm.
And so brawny is having a comeback. It's
All
a
right.
brawny resurgence.
Brawny. All
It's
right.
like, if the brawny paper towel guy looks that good, surely you can too.
No, you can't. Don't try. But do clean up your fucking mess.
Yes. Always wash your counters. All right. And we're talking to like 95% women. Their counters are spotless. Anyway, so as they're going around, as the title would suggest, because everything is rent, they are collecting rents for the laird.
Mm-hmm.
And on their first stop, there's a big long line, and people are showing up with goats and bags of grain.
And a little bit of money, but not a lot of money.
The occasional fat pig.
Ned is pissed.
That chauvinist.
Ned hates fatties.
And Claire's like, this is boring.
And she just wanders away.
Like
Angus
one
or
does.
Rupert or Roangus or whatever we call them, they were probably drunk somewhere and didn't see her go.
Yeah.
And she sees some ladies. And they're like hanging out around a picnic table, just like John shooting the shit.
Yeah, walking wool lady. I have no idea what she'd be called in the IMDb, so I don't even know how to tell you to look her up.
Walking wool lady?
She like woman number one. She probably has some sort
She
of
had a name because Claire asked her, but I didn't write it down, and I'm sorry I
Was it
didn't.
Shirley Morel, elderly woman.
No.
Whatever. She was great.
She has a little scene where she explains to Claire what they're doing. And essentially, they are taking enormous...
Idol, you see.
Yeah, you're idle. You want to come help us out?
Walking wool.
And it's like this big sheet of wool. And they are pouring this liquid on it. And Claire's like, whoo, that smells. She's like, is that? And the woman's like, hot piss.
It's my favorite. Like the look on her face is so gentle, like
Hot piss.
Hot piss, yes.
Claire.
Yes, Claire.
Piss clear.
Yeah.
So they all get down in the frothy yellow stuff.
And they are just pushing it into the into the wool and then wringing it out as they're slapping the table.
Hey, hey,
And they got a song.
That's from Pocahontas. I don't know why that's from popped into my head.
I knew it by note too.
You know what's funny is I intended to go hey ya, and what came out was Pocahontas. What came out was steady as the beating drum.
So they're just elbow deep in piss, working this wool because it helps the dye set fester or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they take a break and they go into the little kind of shed next door. And
They go into their yurt.
their yurt, and they are drinking some quite strong
Having a tapple.
alcohol, just a little tapple. And they give it to Claire, and she's like, whoa. And then a baby cries, and she finds out that the woman can't feed her baby, and they had to give their goat to the laird as part of their rent. and Claire is drunk and mad. And then
She got drunk real fast. That must
She
have been, maybe she got roofied.
And then they were like, well, break's over. Let's replenish the pot. And the woman like shoves the pot at Claire, like, fill it up.
What do you think the teppel's for?
Yeah. So piss in this so we can go work some more wool. And as Claire is hitching up her 50 pounds of skirt to squat over this pot.
Does she say bombs away or does she only say bottoms up?
I think she just says bottoms up.
Says, well, Geronimo.
Yes. There we
We all look at
go.
her like,
What the
Who
fuck?
the fuck is Geronimo?
This bitch.
So she starts to try to piss, and just when she's about to squeeze it out, Angus comes
Oh, I
running
think you
in
can
there.
even
midstream.
hear it.
Oh, it's midstream.
Oh,
that
midstream?
shit
that
went
is true
all
cruelty.
down her leg.
Yeah.
There's no way she was not like zoop. Like that didn't happen.
No, she got
ended up
pissed
with
on.
some wet skirts.
Ugh,
But
gross.
the dye will last forever.
Oh yeah, that's really great. That's really great.
So Angus is mad, and he manhandles her and gets her out of there, and she is pissed. Both because she's drunk and because she was interrupted while
God,
pissing.
excellent word choice, Julie.
Thank you. And then she starts getting really righteous about this family that can't feed their kid. And so she just decides it's time to take matters into my own piss-soaked hands. And she walks over to their wagon where they've got all the like animals that they've been collecting for rent and starts trying to untie a goat. Guess how that goes over? Not well.
It goes over like a urine-soaked skirt astride a horse.
Ew. So is it Angus that starts it with her? Is it Rupert that starts it with her? Who gets over there and is like really up in her grill about it?
Oh, it's Angus.
Yeah. And is that when he calls her a whore? No, he calls her a whore by the fire.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
okay. That's coming when she gets the rabbit on the plate. That hasn't happened yet, right?
No, that already happened.
The rabbit on the plate happened. I missed the rabbit on the plate. The like carcass of the rabbit. Oh no,
Yeah.
because it's after they steal the chickens that she gets up in his grill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, she gets her rabbit on the plate. We also skipped my very favorite cameo in the entire episode: the deer from the opening
Oh,
credits.
that's right. He's so famous now.
I wanted
though.
to ask him for his autograph.
He's so famous.
but he scampered off.
Yeah, he's too big.
True story. I was once bit by a deer in Canada.
What?
What'd you do?
How does that happen?
I was a child. I'm sorry, Amelia. I just startled her. I went to, I don't know. So I grew up in Michigan. There's, it's close to Canada. And for some
I can
parts
see
of Michigan.
Canada from my backyard.
You can't. There are places where you can definitely see Canada from your backyard. There are some parts of Michigan where there's perhaps not much to do. There are also some parts of Canada where there's perhaps not much to do. And sometimes your grandparents take you from the part of Michigan where there's not much to do to the part of Canada where there's not much to do because that is something to do. And then you end up in Canada at a deer park.
Okay.
Where there are deer and they're all cute and pretty and they're in little fences and it's like a zoo but for deer and they have a big thing to run around and feed in and it was tranquil. And when I grew up, I was convinced that I was like 2 clicks away from being a Disney princess. So I was just convinced that all animals loved me. And I stuck my little fingers through the little fence and a deer walked up and I was like, oh, he's smelling my finger. Bit my finger. He just bit my finger. Anyway, I bet it's that fucker.
Yeah, it's that guy.
Can I have your autograph? I won't hunt you, but I am going to
He's too famous now.
maybe kick you right in the nads.
He's too big. He's too famous.
He's
He
too
doesn't
famous.
have time for you.
He uses a false name at hotels. He goes as Buck Rogers. Nailed it!
Oh, Lord.
Ooh, I'm the best. Anyway, all right, Bambi. So poor Ned wants to burn it all down, and Claire's got her pea hands. And where were we?
Where I can't remember who yells at her for trying to take the goat. Is it
it's
Gilf?
Angus.
It is Angus. And so,
then Gilf gets involved.
Yes.
And then they're both yelling at her.
Mhm.
And then this British voice, somebody who looks like Christian Bale from Newsies.
totally.
I thought he looked like William from Downton Abbey for a quick
Yes!
second.
That's
yeah.
a much better comparison. He definitely looks like William from Downton
I
Abbey.
was so excited he was alive. Sorry, spoiler for Downton Abbey. Okay.
Yeah.
The end.
I'm pretty sure anybody who watches Outlander has already given Downton Abbey a go and either found that the costume porn is enough to keep watching or that it is not. I made it all the way through because I'm a completist, but Julie quit after.
I quit after season 1. I started trying to watch season 2 after the car wreck, and I was like, you know what? There's not enough Maggie Smith in the world.
The only thing that you missed out on was the Carson and Mrs. Hughes.
Mrs. Hughes. They got married.
Getting
I knew
hitched.
that. I knew that.
Yeah. Well, and anytime Mrs. Padmore is in a scene, she's great.
I liked all the actors. It's
Mary makes some more questionable sexual decisions.
No question.
the story just got to be too. It was too soap opera-y for me.
Yeah.
It just got to a
Edith
point.
eventually gets to be like, "Why don't you shove it up your ass?" That was
Sweet.
very satisfying.
That's good.
Yeah.
So
So an aside.
Anyway,
aside to Downton Abbey. Now, so she's getting yelled at. The British dude who looks like William from Downton Abbey shows up.
Yes.
And we don't know it right away because he's dressed in a leather apron, so it looks like maybe he's just a blacksmith or something.
yeah, he was maybe fixing a shoe on his horse.
And he's like, "Are you all right, madam?" And you can tell he's British right away, and you're like, "What the fuck is that Sassenach doing here?" And so Claire has to be like, I'm fine. And then he turns around, and guess what he's got? One of those coats.
Those coats.
He's a red
Amelia,
coat.
that is a quote from season 2, and I cannot wait for you to see that episode.
So
Woo,
he's
it's
a
so
red
good.
coat, but he is outnumbered, obviously, because they're in this town. So he finally is like, all right, fine. Leaves her alone. She stays.
He's obviously fuming.
He's mad because these guys are totally yelling in her
This
face.
little apple cheek cherub, he's got a real burn in his britches.
So
And
Go
how
ahead.
sad is it that in this show, if you hear anything faintly woke from a man, you know it's a trap.
Yeah.
It's not even that he was doing that much. He's just being like, hey, are these guys bothering you? You cool? You need this? It's like, nope, bad, run, bad, Claire, run into the yelling, lean into the yelling.
Lean
Yes.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a
So
sad world.
she stays, he goes. That night, they're in the town where they've been collecting rent. And we know that they've gotten everything that these townspeople can give. 2 shillings and a pig, whatever. And then
Ned's ready to burn it all down. That's how many pigs they got.
it was too many pigs. Ned was going to set the shit on fire. So they end up in this pub, and then everybody's having a good time until Rupert closes the door. And then Gilf starts basically sermonizing in Gaelic, and Claire is like, what the hell is going on? And he's all fire and brimstone. And then he reaches a fever pitch and reaches over and rips off Jamie's shirt to expose his whip-scarred back. And
His Cornish game hen of a back.
Ugh. Everybody in the pub is like, oh God, a Cornish came in. And they're like horrified.
What an impractical meal!
Oh! And then out comes this bag, and all the people who didn't have anything left to give somehow find it in their hearts to give them more money. And Claire's like, what is this?
And Jamie is obviously humiliated and furious.
Doesn't
and
like
is
it.
just like very prettily sitting there being very angry. Claire does not say, hey, do you want to hit this? I think it would make you feel better. So instead he hits tree. Nailed it!
So his shirt's on the ground. It's all ripped up. All these people leave. Claire's trying to figure out what's going on.
Murta is also not having it.
He doesn't like it. Gilf picks up the shirt and throws it at Claire like Claire's going to mend it because she's a woman. And Claire's like, what the fuck? And Jamie, it's like that moment in Steel Magnolias where Julia Roberts is like, don't talk about me like a blah here. He gets real upset and he just grabs a shirt and he's like, I'll mend my own shirt. And I'm like, Jamie, you don't need a shirt.
I mean,
You're cool without it.
It's like they show there. We get all these gratuitous shots of his back, and I just think, like, can't we at least see his dugs?
Can't we see his Doug pups? Can't we see a little something on the
Just
front?
give me one pup, one pup and a
Just one
dug.
pup.
Like, I'll accept a dug only, and then a full pup, and that'll make up for the back. Excellent makeup job, but we don't need that.
What is it with these siblings and people ripping off their shirts also? Like Jamie and Jenny. Like
Jenny
people are
got her
just
shirt ripped off.
ripping off their shirts all the time. Something
Yeah.
about those freight stores.
They got to give up their bodies.
Is it that animal magnetism?
Something.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that because we definitely see Jenny's pups,
Oh yeah.
Immediately.
pups and dugs.
Yeah, both. So the next day,
Janine is like not having it, guys.
pups and Dougs, baby.
These are great. No, it's all good. I'm having it. Come on, it's good.
So the next day, Claire has changed her outfit and she's wearing this amazing purple wool collar.
Yes.
And something happens where she says, like, Dougal can read your mind, or he says, I can read your mind. And I thought to myself, Claire, if he can read your mind, can he see all the dirty things you want to do to him? Because even if you hate him, that'd be like A-class grudge fuck right there.
Yeah. Oh,
Just saying. Yeah, hate fuck that guy.
I would grind his corn.
That gets used several times in the episode.
Yeah. It's
by
the
the
next
way.
one, but yeah. Yeah, he's a regular Donald Trump.
Ugh.
What with the chaotic speechifying? Except for I would never fuck Donald Trump.
No way.
Yeah, my lady boner just went off to the winds now.
Yeah, just saying.
All right.
Lady
Well,
Boner gone.
let's go back to Gilf.
Yeah.
Gilf
Gilf and Jamie. Oh, it's back. Okay.
There's a lot of like squaring off. Oh right,
Kiss,
But
kiss,
right
kiss.
now they're like, fight. My back is my own concern, and they're yelling about the use of the back and whether or not that's fair and blah 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 blah. And we're all thinking like, just kiss each other. God damn it. Just like one of you drop something and then you just like bump into each other. Go full broke back. And then they don't. And instead, Claire tiptoes on out. And they have a nice chat while he's punching a tree.
They go back on the road. We see the most beautiful land in the world, Scotland. Lots of porn. We see the streams, the heather, the rocks, the moss, all that shit. It's so beautiful. And then what do we come upon? Some assholes burning some shit down. And it's not Ned because of a pig.
And somewhere in here, though, it's that we're skipping when both Jamie and Ned sort of talk to Claire about how she shouldn't judge things that she doesn't understand, right? Like
Or
first,
is that after the watch thing before they see the guys on the crosses?
Yeah, you're right. That one of them is, but the other one, because she talks to Ned about penny for the laird,
Oh, yeah, because
pound for your own pocket.
Yeah, she busted out to him that she thinks they're stealing.
And you can see in Ned's face that he's like, yes, that's absolutely what we're doing. Yes, you're right. That is correct. You are correct, madam. You think I'm stupid, but
Right.
it is you who is stupid.
And then Scotland porn and then the watch. So Ned knows that Claire knows that something is up. So keep that in mind. So they see the watch. And so the watch are actually like paid gangsters, I guess, that are paid to protect you from the redcoats. But I guess if you don't pay up, they burn your house down, which is what they are doing to this poor Scottish family.
In this case, they were burning the house down because they
Traitor,
told
right.
tales to the redcoats.
And Claire, once again, is incensed because she's like, that's a rumor. How can you prove that? They are destroying this family's life. And the watch is not only setting fire to their house, but they're stealing like all their chickens, all their stuff. And this family, like the dad can't do anything because he's alone and he's surrounded by all these guys. And it's just really upsetting. But Gilf decides to ride over there and you're like, he's going to take care of it. No. He just takes 2 chickens and is like, let's call it a day. And turns around and comes back. And Claire is like, what the fuck? So now she truly believes that they're nothing but gangsters.
And that is when Jamie says, don't judge things that you don't understand, which is when I realized that I really shouldn't have an opinion on Gravity's Rainbow.
I don't get the joke.
Oh, it's
that's
a
good.
book.
It's a book.
It's
a
a
book.
book that's like really known for being incredibly obtuse and like deep. And
I read it.
Yeah.
I read it.
I'm glad I have it.
I read it.
Neil read it. I've never tried.
Gravity's Rainbow.
It took me 2 tries.
Thomas Pynchon.
Aaron, you know
I'm
what?
just curious.
Okay.
Look it up.
If
It's
somebody picks that for our Drunk Book Club podcast,
Say no.
I'm
Say
gonna
no.
be like, nah.
No.
How about The Giver? You want to do The Giver? Do The Giver.
So they cut to the fire later, and what do you know? They're having roasted chicken for dinner. Oh, this is nice. And Angus brings a whole chicken on a plate over to Claire, and she's like, I don't have any appetite. Ooh. And I'm like, bitch, that is a roasted chicken.
Eat stolen food.
Eat with thieves. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's like,
whatever the hell that
oh, and Angus is really mad, and he pulls out his knife, and he gets really threatening, and then that's when he calls her whore.
An English whore. And that's when Jamie is like, hey, if she doesn't want that more for us, you can.
Like saving her ass. Fine. She stomps away. She flounces out. And is there a chat there? Does Jamie come and chat with her after that
Yeah.
one? And is that the one was like, hey, chill out.
Don't judge things you don't understand.
Right.
Again, it's a theme.
It is a thing.
It's what we in the business call a theme.
A motif.
A leitmotif even. No, it's not. It's not. It's
fancy.
Not. It's not. I just wanted to sound smarter than I am. Like Claire.
And then we go to the next town, and this next town is in bad shape. The redcoats had just raided it, so they have nothing. And you could tell that the people are all really hurting, and they don't have anything for rent, and Ned's like shaking his head, and Gilf is like figuring it out. There's nothing here. So he gets one of the guys from the town to tell him what happened, and the redcoats had been there and they took everything. So Gilf straight up turns around, goes back to their amazing rent cart, starts grabbing grain and
Oh, you can't ride in my little rent wagon. The axle's broken and the wheels are...
oh my God.
I told you. I warned them beforehand that I was on my pun game today.
Rent jokes.
But I also feel like if we're going for a rent joke about getting food out of the wagon, it'd be, so that's 5 miso soup, 4 seaweed salad, 3 soy burger, dinner, 2 food dog platter, and 1 pasta with meatless balls.
It tastes the same. If you close your eyes. And 13 orders of fries. Is that it here? Wine and beer.
Oh my God.
Handcrafted beers made in local breweries.
You have to stop us.
I read some copyright laws, and for music, apparently it's like 30 seconds is the
So we're fine. Yay!
But in total, we might get beyond that.
Okay, no more. I'll just quote it without.
No, sing. Don't let me be a Debbie Downer. Come on.
Womp womp. Too late. So they Peter Pan the town and they give everybody food. And Claire all of a sudden is like, oh, so he's not a incredibly horrible person. But then that night they pull the same old show in the pub where Dougal starts like screaming and he's about to rip off Jamie's shirt. This time Jamie's like, I can take off my own shirt.
Would you please stop making me sew this thing back up?
I have sewn this shirt 10
I am
times.
left-handed, bitch.
This sucks.
Come on.
So, but this time, Claire's heard this speech enough where she started to pick up a couple of things because Claire's smart. And she recognizes the name Stuart. And so she begins to realize that they are not doing it for themselves, but it's a political revolt. They are supporting the Stuart king. So these are the Jacobites that will be part of the rebellion. So she figures it out. She's like, oh, they're not trying to just take the money for themselves. They're actually trying to fund this rebellion that I know, because I'm from the fucking future, doesn't work. And so she gets really conflicted about how she can try to convey that without saying, hey, I'm from the future. She tries it with Ned Gowan and it doesn't go over well.
It does not go well. He gets this look on his face where he's like, well, that's your opinion. The best ever Twitter comeback in history. That's your opinion. And I would pit our fighting hearts against their cannons every day. Claire's like, but you get that like cannons are stronger than hearts, right?
Yeah. Like you get that one cannon is like can kill like 20 dudes.
I'm from the future. Never mind. Okay. She also, while they're staying in this pub for one night, for whatever reason, they decide maybe Claire snores. I bet she snores. They decide to give her own room, so she's got her own room at the inn. And all of a sudden she hears this like scritchy, scratchy noise outside. And I think, yeah, totally. And I think she's pretty sure it's very scary. Yes. I think she's pretty sure that Angus is there to like force feed her a chicken to give her a drumstick. Oh,
That's solid.
Thanks, Janine. So she picks up a candlestick.
She's ready.
She's ready to
turns
kick
it upside
some
down.
Ass.
She's going to brain somebody.
She opens the door and immediately trips over the most beautiful pair of man pups.
Because there's Jamie sleeping outside her door because he's afraid that some of the guys in the pub from this town were maybe going to come up and mess with her. And she's like...
Them being all riled up at the English and so on.
Right. And she's English, so what better way to stick it to the man than to stick it to a bitch? You know what I'm saying? So...
Oh, burn it all down.
Yes, burn it to the ground. So she, like, is flustered for a second, and she's like, oh, but you can't sleep out here. Come into my room. And he's like, what?
But your reputation.
And she's like, I don't know if you know me. But I don't, A, have a reputation that's very good here, and B, I don't give a shit. So sleep on the floor. It's fine. Here's a blanket.
And then she goes into a room and is like, God damn, he's hot.
Just don't mind the sounds that will be coming from the bedroom while you're laying there.
I'm just killing a mouse.
It's just me pleasuring myself while I think about you laying outside my door. That's all it is.
And she basically spends the rest of the episode thinking, like, how do I say, so don't burn me, but You know what? We skipped right over when it got all Game of Thronesy.
Oh,
with the tea.
They did.
yes.
While they were on the road, they saw these two
human
guys on
scarecrows.
Yeah, they saw these guys on crosses that had been put up on crosses with the letter T carved into their chest. So it was made to look as if Highlanders had done it and they were traitors, but really, like Gilf and everybody was like, no, the Redcoats did this. So it was pretty shitty. They cut them down off the cross and then gave them a burial. So that happened right before we got to this town.
So then Claire is trying to figure out again how to be like, so you know how you guys believe in fairies? Well, fairies aren't real, but once upon a time I touched a dick rock.
And went through time.
So I can tell you definitively that this is going to fail and you guys are going to lose. And because I'm a really bad time traveler, I haven't considered that perhaps that would have dire repercussions for my life. And I would go back through the stones at Craignadoon and wind up in a nuclear wasteland.
Mm-hmm. It's called the butter fight. Never mind. Never mind. Oh, and then the bar fight. That's what happens right now. Is the big bar fight.
Yeah,
God,
we're skipping all the good shit.
Yep. So they're hanging out in this bar in this town where there are hostile people.
Well, she's trying to warn Ned Gowan.
Right, she's trying to warn him, and there's these really crusty guys over here that are just like looking at her and saying very obviously shit in not sexy Klingon.
Basically, what happened was Central Casting put out an ad in Scotland that said, we need 4 non-attractive Scottish men. And after
all 4 of them showed up.
Right? All 4 of them showed up. And they just... Go ahead, Julie.
I don't want to break a nail. Keep talking.
So they just... start talking some shit about something we don't know what.
Well, they're making eyes at Claire.
Yeah.
But Claire's just used to it at this point.
And Claire also is not really paying attention because she's too busy trying to Cassandra her way out of this conversation with Ned. And then we see like Murtaugh and Angus and Rupert at this other table, and they keep kind of looking over at these dudes and like shaking their head and like turning away. And you can see that they are not pleased with the non-sexy Klingon words. But we don't know what they mean. And then all of a sudden, is it one of the crusty dudes gets up and starts coming that way, and that's all it takes?
Something like that.
Because nobody touches her. Yeah, nobody touches her. But it's very clear that they're talking about her. And then one of them stands up, and that's enough. Our boys from Clan Mackenzie are ready to bash some heads. So the music starts up. And then there's a big fucking bar fight. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? This would be a great place for us to play yakety sax. But Aaron, you don't have to. We've done that so many times that I think we can just ask everyone to imagine that.
What, you just play this one?
He's already got it. He has it because we use it so much he's ready. So the guy stands up. Angus stands up. Rupert stands up, and then chairs.
Murtaugh!
And then fists. And it's just like this. And then it's over pretty quickly. And then we are in a room with Claire and her guys, and she's like, you guys are babies. Like, she's trying to fix them. And she goes, why would you get into that fight or whatever? And Murtaugh was like, you, bitch, you.
We can insult you, but God help any other man that does.
Yeah. He doesn't want he's like, we can insult you because we know you.
Basically, he's like, yeah, you're an English whore, but you're our English whore.
Yeah, exactly. So she finds out that these guys were talking shit, and the Mackenzie dudes did not like it. So she's cleaning everybody up. And then all of a sudden, that's kind of a little bit of a bonding moment for her, too. She realizes that these people care about her in whatever limited male sense of the word that means. And they're packing up to leave. And Rupert starts making a joke.
He's telling this story about how these 2 women were fighting over who was going to get to fuck him first.
Right. It's like Sweaty Nelly and like what are their names?
I don't know.
Oh, God. If you caught Sweaty Nelly, you caught more than me.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just him
So
bragging.
Sweaty Nelly and Sweaty Jelly, I don't know, are arguing, and he's bragging about like, can you believe it? And then Claire comes in with a sick burn. Like, Claire doesn't get that many sick burns. Mm-hmm. She comes in with a sick burn and says, I believe your right hand gets jealous of your left. And it's like cricket. Cricket. They're Scottish crickets. Cricket. And then they all start
All the guys start laughing. And then Rupert says the thing that guys forever have always said was, I didn't know that women could be funny.
I've never heard a woman tell a joke before.
They aren't. They can't. Guys, I've been a mole this whole time. I'm here to tell you.
You're here to tell us.
I'm here from the MRA.
Here from the MRA.
And you're not
and
funny.
the future, where we have found out that women aren't funny.
I know I touched a dick rock. I came back through time just to warn you that you're fighting this fight. It can never be won. Women will never be funny.
Women will never
actually, women will never be funny.
Well, actually. So they're having a bonny old time out on the road, making friends, making jokes. And then they stop at their final place to stop. And Claire's like looking at everybody. And she's like, I'm going to the river to wash. And I'm like, haven't you still been covered in piss for weeks?
There's this real quick shot where you see Ned like talking to Dougal being like, so about this bitch.
I think
She keeps trying to tell me that we can't fight sorry, I had to burp.
We can't fight the redcoats because it's not going to go well. I don't know how she knows this, but she can't stop talking about it.
She just will not stop. I think maybe she's a witch. We should burn
Or
her.
from the future. I'm not certain.
Anyway, so she goes to the river to wash, and Dougal comes up and is all like, will you light my candle? And they have a tete-a-tete where he wants to know if she's a spy. How does she know this shit? She's got a lot of opinions for a woman. Mm-hmm. And they're arguing.
And it's pretty heated, and they're kind of yelling at each other. And then all of a sudden, right over the ridge, what do we see?
Will from Downton Abbey.
In those coats.
In those coats.
And that's basically the end of the episode.
Madam, I ask you again. But this time I brought 15 of my closest friends. Are you all right? And then... Cricket. End of episode.
Yep.
And then they ask her, like, are you here by your own choice? Oh, wow, what a subtle thematic question about the series. Are you in 1743 by your own choice?
Well, now that you mention it, I did touch a dick rock, and I guess that was my choice.
It was my choice to touch that rock. I didn't know the consequences. But you know what? There's one really great consequence who can't carry a tune. I'm just saying.
He's a very weak seaman.
But looks great in a vest. So that's the end of Rent.
Sorry,
Rent.
I just literally pictured the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see the movie because I'm not a masochist.
Oh.
Couldn't do it.
What is a sadist? We'll get there. That's a later episode. So that's Rent. And it has all of the fun of the Broadway musical without any of the commentary about the AIDS crisis.
Yeah, the asthma crisis.
The asthma crisis.
That's about it.
Yeah,
About it.
that's the closest that we get. So Amelia, as you've heard the show before, you will know we do these scales at the end. And we don't plan these in advance. So basically, I end up making up some shit. And I end up just reusing Ken Burns' baseball over and over.
That was the best. That was the best one for a really slow burn.
Yeah. But I will not resort to Ken Burns' baseball. So let's start with costumes because we had some good shit. So let's do on the low end of the scale. Let's say grumpy old men, which is wintry. It's wintry.
Keep the change. I don't know if you guys remember that. Burgess Meredith was so good in that movie.
And then on the high end, let's say lion in winter. Ooh. That's some good shit I gave you guys there. They're basically the same movie.
Yeah.
All right, so Julie, where on a costume scale are we?
Well, we're definitely on the higher end because of the incredible quality of the woolen wear that Claire sports in this episode.
Also those coats.
Yeah, not
those
only
coats.
those coats. The traveling coat that she wears is something else, and we talked about that last episode. But this time she's got that infinity scarf that I am living for, and she also has that incredible purple wool like bib collar, whatever it is that I was really into.
And Ned's got that velvet frock coat.
Ned's looking good. I was really impressed with Gilf's kind of kilt game in this episode. I don't know why all of a sudden it stood out to me. is this the first time we've seen the beret too? He's got his gray beret on.
Oh, is it?
It might be in season 1 the first time we've seen it.
There's something about it that made me just want to shoot it right off his head.
Shoot in his face. So I got to go higher. I don't think I can go all the way Lion in Winter. So maybe we'll go another period thing. Takes place in cold. Oh, God. Sometimes I just don't have an idea. Beckett.
Done. All right.
Beckett has the religious drag that's really interesting. And you also get like the king wearing like his normal clothes, not his fancy clothes sometimes. And that's interesting to see. So I'll stay there.
That's pretty good. All right. Amelia, on a scale of grumpy old men to a Lion in Winter, where does this go on a costume scale for you?
I'm 94 fucking years old.
Does that be a winter movie?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
So what comes to mind for me is Mary Poppins.
Mm.
There's some standouts, and the rest is passably of its time.
Mm-hmm.
And you think of it as having good costumes.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's a
That's
good
where
call.
that's where I'm
That's a
putting
really
it.
good call.
That's where I'm
Good.
putting it.
There's all. I think that Mary herself wears a sort of velveteen frock coat. That's a good connection. All right.
That's her flying coat, correct?
I believe so.
Yes.
She wears that little bow tie.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
And that
bow
little
tie.
weird, like, modified pork pie thing.
Yep.
It's pretty
And
good.
Mrs. Banks has some
Oh,
really
oh.
luxurious
soldiers and petticoats. God, I love that movie and I love that song so much. For women's votes. It's the best. Though we adore men independently, we agree that as a group, they're rather stupid.
You know what? Janine says, accurate.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. So I'm gonna go. Let's say like. Oh, I need something. Period. That was my feet, guys. I'm really sorry. I was at Mary Poppins. We brought Mary Poppins, so I was stepping in time.
I can't help.
Can't help it. That's the truth. That's really the truth. I'm gonna go with. Let's say, like, now you've got fucking partially animated Disney movies in my head. So I'm going to say, plus because I've been thinking about Angela Lansbury, Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yes.
That's a yes. Yes. It is a good movie.
What an
It is.
invention.
What a childlike adventure.
We fell into a little YouTube wormhole about Lady Angela last night, Dame Angela. Yep.
Oh, yeah?
And there's this old number from some musical that she sang in a great, like,
Would
Cockney
you like to
accent.
spoon with me?
And all these guys are like, fuck yeah, I'll spoon with you. Because if you've ever seen Angela Lansbury when she's like in her 20s, it's pretty... She's pretty fucking hot.
Cheesecake.
Yeah, she's cheesecake.
Yeah, it's
Would
great.
you like to spoon with me?
It's great. It's great.
Allison and I were singing it all night.
Because like that kind of sounds like Oliver to me, like
Oh, yeah.
spoon with me.
Oh,
I'm having a hard time
totally.
imagining that coming from like
Yeah.
sexy
Oh, no.
Angela Lansbury.
It's true, though.
Like I feel like the reverse of that would be like, oh, I don't know. So what's a good kid song? It's like Yankee Doodle went to town. Like, that's the inverse.
You should look it up. It's great. Maybe I'll put that on Twitter, but look for it. It's great. We also watched the video, if you haven't seen it, from a couple weeks ago, of Angela Lansbury singing Beauty and the Beast at the 25th anniversary celebration of Beauty and the Beast. with
It
Alan
was so
Menken.
good.
And she's
like
however old she is
85
now.
or something, and she's still got it.
She really has still got it. And at the end, she goes, off to the cupboard with you now, and mine just died.
And then
was
Allison
reborn.
cried.
Yeah. I really love
I'm a little misty just hearing you say
I know, it's just wonderful. Like, it's just wonderful. Anyway, okay. So now our next one is the bone scale, which we're easing on down the road. Ease on down the road. To get to Bone Town. Bone Town's on its way, or we're on our way to Bone Town. Anyway, there's no sex. The point being that we do still have some moments of tension, as it were.
Yes.
So where are we? Let's go. Mary Poppins is a great example. That'll be the high end of the scale because that movie is rife with unconsummated sexual tension.
Yeah. I mean, Bert's hitting that.
Oh, at least he's thinking about it.
And
so is she.
In my mind, I just really would like to see them just doing it.
Preferably while flying.
Well, maybe while flying,
or
but
on
definitely.
the carousel.
Yes. Definitely while he's got chimney sweep shit all over him. And while she's in that white dress. from the
Oh,
Carousel
yeah,
scene.
yeah.
You guys, I just got a really far away look at my. It's kind of disgusting.
That was an
You know
I was
what?
not expecting at this podcast.
That would be practically perfect in every way.
And but it won't take a spoonful of sugar to make this medicine go down. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
It's up the chimney, step in time. Up the chimney, step in time. Up the chimney.
I didn't know Mary Poppins did that. What a slut.
Maybe it was Mary Poppins using a woman's secret.
Just one finger.
All right, so we'll say Mary Poppins on the high end. So what's the low end? Ken Burns baseball.
It's always there. It's always
All
there.
right, so the bone scale on a scale of Ken Burns baseball to Mary Poppins. Where does this episode fall?
Oh, God
Julie.
dang it. Okay, so I've already used, you know what? I know what I'm going to use.
Great.
Because I talked about moonlighting last week, I'm going to take it back to another 80s television classic.
Hit me.
And we're going to go straight season one finale. Nope. The episode before the season 1 finale of Cheers. It's just before Shelley Long and Ted Danson have their screaming match at each other, which is what breaks it, and then they go make out. So just before that, the
Cheers on
episode
the
before
brain.
that. It's because I went and saw that shitty ass stage play, which never should have been made, and all it's about is nostalgia and member berries. Remember Cheers? Remember how good that was? Remember when women couldn't vote? It's like that.
Great. All right, Amelia.
I'm gonna rate it. You've got mail.
Ooh.
Okay, it's pretty good.
Both
Don't cry, shop girl.
because there's nothing that'll cool down a fire in your loins like don't cry, shop girl. But it's a similar yelling at each other a lot, sexual tension, and then also there's that shot of Dougal. Gilf when he's coming through to yell at her like, where are you from? While you wash in the river? And it's lit very beautifully and the leaves are there. And then of course that whole damn movie is like, don't you love the leaves in New York? Don't you love Tom Hanks near all the leaves on all the trees in
Goddamn
New York?
national treasure.
So that's
That's a really solid call.
thank you.
We should add that to the redacted list. I could make fun of that movie.
I told Rob that I want to do that a month
Great.
ago.
Great.
All
right. All yours.
I just want to be involved.
Great.
I love you. Thank you. Okay, bye.
I know, but I enjoy this.
The sound you're hearing is Julie pulling apart a six-pack ring in sexual frustration.
Yeah, she's
She's
saving
still
all the
got that.
ducks in
I'm
the
saving the
universe.
fucking turtles is what I'm doing.
She's got this faraway look in her eyes, and you can tell that
Thinking
she's
about-
just thinking like,
Thinking about the
step
chimney
in time,
sweeps.
step in time.
Chimney sweeps.
Yeah. All right, and I'm gonna say, oh God, I don't know. How the hell am I gonna top You've Got Mail and Cheers? What about? Oh hell, fuck it, A League of Their Own.
There you go.
I'm gonna go A League of Their Own because they've got a little sexual tension, but she loves Bob.
Mm-hmm.
He's Bill Pullman. How could she not? Even if he does come back with half a foot.
At least he didn't have really fat fingers. It's my favorite Bill Pullman line of all time. She had really fat fingers.
That's great. Okay, so last one. How easy is it for you to get up and get a beer? I'm gonna assume this one is gonna be pretty easy.
Yeah.
Also, we've got like travel. So let's say, a Visit Montana commercial. That's the low end. To fuck it, Braveheart. We'll go full Scotland on that.
Okay. I could get up and get a beer pretty much at any time during this episode, except for the scene where she finds Jamie outside of the door, because that little compact scene right there is very intense.
Yes.
I would say that instead of the Travel Minnesota, I'm going to go 100% pure Michigan because you know what? Tim Allen's voice, it really does serve that product well. I appreciate it, but I also can leave the room while it's happening. I'm not mad about it.
All right, Amelia.
I'm gonna go the Visit Montana train ads.
Ooh!
That just where they take over the outside and the inside of a train.
Yep.
I know. I'm going a little off book here.
No, that's
because
great.
then I can get off and go to work or come back on the train. It's still the same Montana, y'all.
Yes.
It's still the same Montana.
That's good. That's really good. I'm gonna go with I've watched A League of Their Own 6 times this week. I'm going to go with the terrible travel montage in A League of Their Own. First of all, you can get up at almost any point in A League of Their Own. There are so many baseball montages. Fuck it. I'm not even going to say the travel montage. There's so many baseball montages in A League of Their Own. I'm going to say, but you love that movie anyway. Like, Ned Gowan is a total Betty Spaghetti.
Yeah, you love Ned Gowan.
Yeah, you know, you've got your Jimmy Dugan. He's a total Dougal. Jimmy Dougal.
Yes, Jimmy Dougal.
Right.
Are you crying, lass? Are you crying?
Yeah.
There's no crying in the great collection.
Great. So that's where I'm going to go. All right. So from here on out, in just a couple of minutes less than, we're going to do a quick spoiler section for those of you who have read or seen further into the show, season 2, for which Amelia will probably go, I don't know, pee or something.
Yep.
But
On
first... Amelia
in a bucket first.
Amelia Buzzell, former coworker of mine, who is amazing. This is the truth. Ooh, that's the wrong page. Is also a member of the artist formerly known as Girl Group Chicago, now called the Bangers. And if you're in Chicago or will be traveling here, they're doing a really cool thing that I have to go to that I think we should bring Brooke to. Oh, God, I think maybe it's when you're gone. Whatever, it doesn't matter. On October 28th at the Beat Kitchen, where they are doing all of the soundtrack to Dirty Dancing.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Yes, Brooke would really love that.
She's like the wind.
She is like the
wind. She's just like
my
the wind.
Tree. Yeah.
It's going to be wild. You can also follow her completely delightful life on Instagram at Marlowe Jr., and that's Junior all the way spelled out. You'll be able to see baked goods and construction paper crafts and really cute shirts and some incredibly adorable dogs named...
Albright and Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Nice.
And it's delightful. It's really delightful. My favorite Instagram post of the year was a post of when she went to England with her parents and they went to a restaurant that had a press for champagne button. And I just all I want in my life now is an excuse to have a press for champagne button. I tried to talk Tom into installing some sort of like buzzer on the wall and making sure we always had a bottle of champagne in the fridge so you could press for champagne and the champagne would come out. So if one of us like got a job or something, we would just be able to press for champagne and somebody would go get the champagne. Anyway, so you can follow her there. We also need to thank our Patreon backers. This time we've got some new ones, and because the last time we did this, we were drunk. I don't know if you've noticed that we drink while we do these. I can't remember who of our new backers we had said before, because what we're going to do every week is list the people who are giving at the $10 or more level, which means that we thank them every week for their continued support of the show, as well as people who've signed up for the first time. So some of you might be like sneaking in a second one here, but we need to thank Amanda Newton, Beth Locke, Kathleen Moniz, and a person who signed up as Jenlander Drunklin.
I love you, Jenlyn.
Drunklin. Yeah, you're the best.
Please call us.
Those 4 people are supporting us at the $10 level. Thank you so much for making it possible. We have some new equipment and now have a much fancier hosting system. You're already making our lives so much better and improving the quality of the show, and that's really great. We also want to thank Rose Cardeal, Samantha, no last name, and Kelly Bodden, who all gave for the first time in the last few weeks. So thank you so much. Now, we're going to play some music, probably not Rent because we've gone over 30 seconds, but some kind of music. Come back in just a second or two with a spoiler section. And then we'll be back at you next week with episode 1.6.
The Garrison Commander.
So thanks for listening, and stay tuned if you want to hear shit about stuff that happens in the future. And we're back with shit that some of you already know, hosted by Allison and Julie. Amelia, because she hasn't watched, is now hiding in the kitchen, which I think is real cute. So we wanted to talk about Mr. Lieutenant Jeremy Foster.
Lieutenant.
Yes.
What does that even mean? Is that really just lieutenant?
It's lieutenant, but with a little FU in it. I mean, there's no U, so that joke doesn't really work. But
you know
I knew
what?
it would
Don't
make
give
you
a
laugh.
shit. It was
I
good.
knew it would make you laugh.
It was good.
So of all of the sort of surprises in season 2, he was the character that I maybe least expected to see again. First of all, because he's not in the book.
That's right. Oh yeah, I forgot. He's the one that gets it.
Yeah, he's the one that is like already wounded. And Dougal's already met him, and like we'll see that character more in the next episode. But is like seems to be a pretty decent human being. Mm-hmm. And then Dougal just fucking like stabs him right in the dick. Mm-hmm. Like not in the dick. I just assume everybody gets stabbed in the dick.
I was going to say it's happening a lot.
Yeah. Well, it
trend.
definitely happens once.
It's a trend.
So we get to see him.
What's that actor's name?
Lieutenant Jeremy Foster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brittany.
Tom Brittany. Good job, buddy.
He does a real good job.
He is quite apple-cheeked and very British looking. Mm-hmm. And he's just there trying to do his job and do it well and with honor. And he does a good job. He has no idea that Blackjack is what he is. Mm-hmm. And then we see him get murdered, basically.
He also seems to have a certain amount of disapproval of his new commander, because we find out in the garrison commander that guy's only been there for a couple of weeks.
Right, the Brigadier General Saucy Pants.
Yeah.
Brigadier General Senior Fop.
Yes.
Like that guy. Yeah.
But, in this episode, he basically just sees a woman in distress, and despite the fact that he is seriously outnumbered, tries to do the right thing, and then goes out of his way to actually do the right thing. And that means he's basically the British Jamie, but without the pups. Although
we never see his pups.
First he's wearing that apron, and then he's wearing that coat.
Those kids.
But I was really excited, and excited is the wrong word. Pleased, I guess, to see the show make such a callback to a character that we only see briefly. He's, his total screen time in this episode is like
less than
5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's also not in much of the next one. Mm-mm. So slightly more, but not all that much. And I really love that the show was willing to like trust that people would remember who he was. Mm-hmm. And also that they like had the sense to make sure they could bring back the same actor, and instead of just inventing some other random soldier that Dougal might know, that they committed to bringing back this minor character who's also an invention, Mm-hmm.
So he's not in the book at all?
He's not in the book at all.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Because she ends up going to Fort William. Well, she doesn't end up at Fort William, but to meet the garrison commander, because they think that's the best way for her to get back to her people. Mm-hmm. And it's still dicey. They're obviously still trying to figure it out, but they figure they'll get more information if they bring her to talk to the British.
Right.
Yeah, so he's an invention, and I love that the show committed to finding a way to bring that character back. Mm-hmm. Was there anything else spoilery that you wanted to talk about?
No, I can't think of anything in this particular episode that like gets called back later.
I wish we saw more of Ned Gowan.
I always wish there's more of Ned Gowan. That actor is so awesome.
Is the next episode the last that we see of him in season 1? And he's not in season 2 at all, right?
Yeah.
I think that's true. Is he only in 2 episodes? Can you look up?
Ned Gowan.
Ned Gowan. Gowan, I believe. Yes. Yeah. Bill Patterson.
He's in a lot. Wait, well, you don't have to tell me. In the order: Rent, Garrison Commander, Wedding, Both Sides Now, The Record.
Oh, right.
Oh, so he does come back for a couple more episodes. Good.
Oh, well, of course he's in The Wedding. I completely forgot, because he's got to go to the whorehouse.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh, my God, that's coming up.
4 more episodes after that, too.
Okay, cool.
So, great.
Yeah, he's still in the series.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it for me.
Me too.
Else?
Nope.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for listening. As always, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever you like. And we'll be back next week with another episode of Podlander Drunkcast, an Outlander podcast. Bye.
Bye.